I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, if we don't secure that bridge, we don't put trail through the heart of Beaver County for potentially another 50 years or more.
Why do you say that? Why is that number on it like that?
Like, can you imagine what it's like to bring into alignment the will of landowners, politicians, funders, the public, around a 7-mile stretch of real estate? I mean, it's a huge puzzle. And we have so many of those pieces in place. We got to get this bridge. We got to have ownership taken care of for this bridge for the bridge, or all that other work, it goes away.
I love the feeling of the legs starting to burn and the chest starting to hurt a little bit and the heart rate immediately shooting up, and just the grind of like working through the pain of working your way up the hill. I didn't know at the time how important it would be to me, but a number of years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, I just found myself in a real place of anxiety and like borderline depression sort of stuff. And having that bike every day and going out and riding it, I rode tons of miles that fall. It was really, really healthy for me. I mean, just biologically, we know when you push yourself, like heart beating, it shoots endorphins through your body, which is just healthy for us. I also found it to be a real spiritual thing too. I love riding my bike. Meditation is rooted in deep breathing. That's exactly what you do on a bike. It's hard to put into words, but it's a sacred space. Cycling has just been a life-changing thing. If I didn't have this in my life, I would not be as healthy as I am, not just physically. I used to ride 51 a lot when I first started getting into cycling around here. I used to think that it was actually one of the safer roads around because there's 2 lanes, and so almost everyone would just give me the whole lane. And so I'd be as close to the white line as possible, but everyone would jump way over to the other lane. But then, there's just, in the last 10 years, there's been multiple people killed on this road. And after the last one, it was just really hard riding past these ghost bikes. It's just really hard to continue riding on that road and feeling safe. One of the crazy things is 51 is like one of the state's cycling routes, which is why you see those little signs with the green circle on it that has like cycling route A. Like Pennsylvania thinks this is like one of the best routes to go from West Virginia the whole way up to like Erie. Wow. And there's randonneur clubs in the city that like will do 150 miles in one day. And they'll come out this way and they'll get back, and on like the Facebook chat or message boards, they'll be like, 51 around Aliquippa is the worst place to ride. It's so dangerous. And this is always the place that gets remarked on it as a dangerous place. Just not a good place to ride.
Currently, bicycle route A, it's really not for recreation and those people that are just looking for, family outdoor type of activities. So the goal in 2008 was to, connect Monaca to the Montour Trail and getting more of that recreational trail connectivity. So we saw these brownfields along the rivers as a golden opportunity to bring the trails to the riverbanks. That plan that was generated in 2010 had beautiful parks along the river down in our industrial zone, because we had this vision of reconnecting people to the river. Yeah. And then in 2012-13, Shell announced an interest in Beaver County, and that changed. So there's kind of a new, imagination for what these riverfronts will now become into something that, families would, go there with their children and ride on a safer path. The other thing is we have a tremendous amount of walkers that walk that road as well. And we just have to do a better job in making a safer mode of transportation for those that don't have motor vehicles to make their commute.
All right, maybe we'll walk up to the guardrail, I guess.
Yeah.
people think you're really a newscaster.
Young people think I'm making a YouTube video. That's how it goes.
For a while, I had to ride my bicycle from Monaca to Aliquippa.
Yeah.
Due to some circumstances, personal circumstances, I had no choice. Yep. And I would ride and I would wait and I could hear cars coming behind me and see the headlights, so I could stop and get over the guardrail, and I would just do one of these. What I was doing was holding my bike with the handlebar here, but my bike was actually right here.
Okay.
And the truck came and he hit it. He didn't even know he hit it. He never slowed down, didn't stop. I know for sure he didn't know he hit the bike. And I certainly would have been killed or horribly injured, I'm sure. For that period of time, it was very necessary for me to use a bicycle, and it's definitely a detriment to our health. Not only that, I believe people would really utilize a bike trail in that area. It's really a nice area to ride a bike. You have the river right across, right down from the road, and I think it would be a wonderful thing.
Well, I'll bring you up and I'll tell you the story behind this as well. I was actually on my way to pick up interns for Aliquippa Impact to do early morning trail running. And as I was heading north on 51, there was police officers and there was a truck off on the side of the road with a bicycle underneath it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. That looks horrible.
I don't know how long my arms are, but 4 feet, Pennsylvania state law is you're supposed to give a 4-foot window of space when you're passing a bicycle. And he had the whole 2 roads, the whole 2 lanes of this road. So scary, because not everyone knows that, and not everyone cares either. So if we had a trail access of some sort to span the distance, at least from the Ambridge Bridge going north up towards Monaca, that'd be huge and safe.
We have some studies that our goal would be to get it as close to the river in the proximities that we can achieve that. Mm-hmm. So we think, that goal of being on all the riverbanks is going to have to kind of take a little step back, but there might be opportunities where we can carve and kind of get in and then pop back out, getting it at least off of Route 51.
I think about what is the value of access to natural resources. Mm-hmm. That's really the point. North Park, for example, or South Park, or Boyce Park. And those tracks are, very busy all the time with pedestrians and cyclists. And there's nothing like that around here. So that would be a huge benefit. So a loop trail would be pretty cool because it would give recreational access to a community that really has nothing.
In the bike world, bike places have had a hard time keeping bikes in stock because everyone's gone out and bought them. You can work from home now and you have more chance to go ride bikes. I know, bike shop Snickers was out of most bikes for a while there, and other shops around here. So a lot more people were out cycling. And to have trails that are just up and down the rivers here, connecting the towns, I think would bring a lot more people into recreational riding too. Mm-hmm. I know folks from the church or on my Facebook feed, they drive downtown to go ride bikes now, or they drive other places to Montour Trail and ride there. I mean, they would definitely come to park in Aliquippa or Monaca and ride 15 miles on these trails.
All right, let's get in the car and see where. So just drive and you'll ask me questions?
Yeah, I guess. I don't exactly understand why the bridge is necessary or how that came about or whatever, so I just feel like...
Yeah. Basically, there's a plot of land just north of the Beaver County Jail that we had originally envisioned being, an integral part of the Ohio River Trail. Well, we can't use that anymore because it's now being utilized for other purposes. That's a huge issue because all of a sudden you have this big long stretch of possible trail development, and then you got this one really clear impediment right in the middle of it. So the Blacks Run Bridge allows us the possibility of going around that problem spot, getting off of the river for a second and getting up and over the river, looking over the river on Old State Route 51. This is not just building a trail that a biker is going to use. This is connecting communities physically, but also with their heritage. So we're pulling together all kinds of history along with recreation, bringing people into downtown Aliquippa. The same thing would be said in Monaca, in Ambridge. This is a generational opportunity. And if we lose it, you're waiting a generation or more to get a shot at it again.
Yeah, I guess the one question I have, and it's hard to get past, is why are we asking Beaver County to acquire this bridge, and why is the Ohio River Trail Council or even Riverwise as nonprofit 501c3s not acquiring the bridge? What is, why Beaver County?
Sustainability standpoint, I personally don't think that the Ohio River Trails or Riverwise has the capacity to really be that facilitator to own an asset this magnitude in the county. This would be the equivalent of the county with Brady's Run Park, Old Economy, Buttermilk Farms. Why do you own those assets? This is a regional trail network that the umbrella ownership of it, I believe, should be the county. Those local municipalities just don't have the capacity to do that. That bridge sits in Center Township. To go to the municipality of Center and ask them to own that, I think it's more of a regional asset, and it should be shared from a county standpoint.
The trouble and the hesitation is if there was trails leading up to this asset already in place, it would be an easier sell. I'm not saying it's dead on arrival, but it'd be an easier sell. The worrisome issue is in 5 years, 10 years, we talk about that. If something doesn't come to fruition, what happens? Now this becomes a liability for us.
There's no doubt there's a chicken and an egg scenario here, and we're asking you guys to be, I don't know which comes first, but we're asking you guys in some respects, to be the first. We need bold leadership on this to start to answer some of those questions. Many of those questions have been studied to death. We are convinced after $1.1 million of due diligence that we can get a substantial 15-mile chunk of trail through the central industrial corridor of the heart of Beaver County.
You already have 60 bridges.
Well, those 57 bridges are vehicular. So we're earning money on those. I'm not saying we want to earn money on everything. So those 57 or 58 that we own are vehicular, with one pedestrian, maybe at Brady's Run that would qualify because it might be over 20 feet. And then the Watts Mill Bridge just came back, which, it cost us nothing to do.
We've had 3 fatalities on bicycles using Route 51 over the last several years. It's frustrating that on paper you can start in Cleveland, come down the Eastern Ohio Greenway, stop at Beaver County, pick it up in Coriopolis, now Montour Trail, hike all the way down or bike all the way down to DC. We have this gap. And to me, where there's a will, there's a way. But we need the will to see this happen. If you look at that asset and what that bridge could be, it could be a real showpiece for Beaver County. And you got to start somewhere with a physical build of a trail. And even if that's a several mile loop from Monaca through to South Heights and going across that bridge, that's a start of a physical trail and a destination for people to come to. And if you have this, people love bridges, quite frankly. I mean, you fix that up. I just think the potential from a tourism and recreational standpoint, if we look at this and maybe that couple-mile loop as another park acquisition and something that we have. The maintenance costs and all those things, the ongoing liability. I have just as much heartburn over you, but somehow, if we have the will, we can find a way to make this work so that the burden's not too hard on us as a county and then the taxpayers.
Like I said, this isn't dead. I'm not asking Mr. Betters to give us some more time because, just actually this summer I'm not in the cycling, but I'm in the casually riding a bike. I went to Hilton Head and I went to Pittsburgh once. It's nice to be able to park your car and go on a bike ride. And I want to see that happen in Beaver County. It's just, you hit the nail on the head when you said liability. This becomes another liability that the county has to carry. And I know you have to take those risks. And Daniel, you said it, you got to take these risks to have something come to fruition like this.
So, you asked a question earlier, what do I think? I'm super frustrated. Name one thing in the history of the human condition that was beautiful, that required no risk, no energy, no effort, no resources. We're talking about a generational investment here that, that my kids, my grandkids, your grandkids, your parents, our friends, our visitors, can utilize and enjoy in perpetuity. That's worth taking a little bit of a chance. And the chance here, this investment has been de-risked again and again and again and again and again by multiple stakeholders. We've done everything we can possibly do here to prepare the way for the project. We now need public leadership to make the project possible. This is a very clear opportunity for us to think about ourselves as something beyond a municipality. If we make this thing work, we're connecting municipalities across the county. And this is at heart and core of Riverwise's mission. At the core of Riverwise's mission from day one has been creating a regional identity around the rivers of Beaver County. That goal was not just because we liked rivers. The reason for that was because we thought there's something inherent in seeing ourselves as part of a region, as working together, that opens up layer upon layer upon layer of opportunity. This trail is a great example of that. We could never do this kind of project with one municipality on board. We need a coalition working together to make this kind of thing possible. That creates a better version of Beaver County. That creates competencies within each of our municipal leaders, within our organizations, within our communities. It's way more than a bridge. It's about our ability, the possibility of leveling up our capacity to move Beaver County into its future. That's the issue here. That's most fundamentally why Riverwise cares. That's why people are so concerned. You can't create a project like this that creates regional competency in collaborative initiatives very easily. That's been teed up here. We're either going to hit it out of the park or we're going to walk away. I'm not sure which yet. It hinges on county leadership to determine how that question gets answered.
You think about people that say, well, the 1950s were the golden years, or the 1960s, or the 1970s. And, we have to define our communities as our parents and grandparents telling their grandchildren, you need to go somewhere else. Or are we making communities places where our parents and grandparents are saying, you can stay here, you can have a family here. If you're close enough, I can babysit your kids. There's enough activities. It's really even more important to build places where people choose to live.